Alright, so just a refresher, there was something munching on my anthurium seedlings a while back. I finally figured out what it was. It was a tiny little snail, and so I made a short asking whether I should kill it or keep it. To my surprise, everyone said kill it, so that's what we're going to do, and this is a very short video. Just kidding, guys. This one actually gets spared. This is like the whole Thanksgiving turkey thing where this snail out of all the rest get pardoned by me, the tech plant president, so we are going to make him a home. I have one of these little I don't know what you would even call these, like a juice jar or something. It's from IKEA. You can get these at IKEA. They're pretty cool, and you can make nice little terrariums out of them. So we're going to make a sideways terrarium just to give the snail some more surface area for it to eat whatever plants I end up sticking in there. So I'm going to line the bottom with an aquarium substrate. This stuff is called sea chem, if I recall, and it's like a clay. It's almost like leca, but crunched up really and a little more dense. I'll use that as my bottom layer. I don't have charcoal or any really fancy stuff, so then the next step is going to be just to use some aeroid mix, what I use in most of my plants. This is going to be a closed terrarium for the most part, so I'm not going to be watering very often. I don't really need like a really amazing drainage layer, and honestly, if the plants start to die in here, who cares, because they'll just become food for the snail, so it's honestly not that big of a deal. Because this is so small and I'm not much of a terrarium builder, I just found this like random limestone rock in my yard. That is going to be the hardscape for this sweet design. If you need more cool terrarium tips, subscribe to Tech Plant. But yeah, like I said, I'm not really much of a designer here, still learning, so it's just whatever. Just surface for algae to grow on so the snail can maybe munch on it. As far as the plants for this little mini terrarium we're going to be building, we are going to be using some spike moss. There is a little mini tree called biophytum. There is another one called solanum. I forget what the actual species name is. I'm not really sure. I haven't looked at these plants in a while. That little string of frogs, or Ficus thunbergii, is the other one, or oak leaf creeping fig. And then there's just some sphagnum moss. That should be a good enough variety. I'm sure the snail's going to eat something out of here. I always forget how hard it is to actually work in these little bottles. I'm always shocked when I look at, or I guess I forget, because I see a lot of stuff on Serpa Design, and he does a lot of these crazy builds in these small containers. The patience that man must have is insane, because some of this stuff just drives me crazy trying to get it planted, and I definitely don't have good techniques yet. For the most part though, I'm just laying things in there. I'm trying to get some of the roots in contact with the ground, but a lot of this stuff was already in propagation bins, so it's not like it needs to really root right away. It's going to be very damp and moist and probably 100% humidity almost in this little container, so I'm not too worried about rooting. It'll kind of happen on its own. This is a pretty simple home, but again, it's already pretty extravagant for just a tiny pest snail. Honestly, people kill these by the thousands, especially orchid collectors. They hate these things getting in their collection because they really are quite damaging, especially when their numbers grow. I don't like them either. I don't tell anybody, but I kind of kill these things sometimes. But this one's special. Like I said, he's been pardoned, so he gets his own little home. But yeah, it's very simple. We got our background, we got our middle ground tree, got some little solanum foreground going on. I don't know. It's a terrarium. Well, once I got it all set up, then I just sprayed some water in there, got everything nice and moist and wet. That'll make it a little easier for that snail to crawl around in there so it doesn't dry out. So it should be pretty good. Now, lastly, we actually have to put the snail in here. So here he is. This is the one I took out of the bin. I'm sure there's more, honestly. When there's one, there's usually a bunch. I really combed through and didn't see many, but they're probably pretty good at hiding. So anyways, here he is. So our last step is to put him in here and seal him up. He seems to be enjoying it already, crawling around on different leaves. I'm not sure what he's going to choose to munch on. Maybe everything, maybe nothing. I don't know. I am going to supplement a little bit of fish food in there for him to eat, just in case he doesn't touch the plants. And I'll kind of monitor. If I see the plants are being eaten, then I'll just leave him in there, because I highly doubt he can eat the plants faster than they can grow, but I could be wrong, especially if he goes for the growth point. Alright, about 20 days has passed. Typical for tech plant videos. Usually there is some sort of update. Things are growing in well, and the snail is surprisingly still alive. So either he's eating the plants or the fish food, I'm not really sure, but he's alive and well. Most of the plants are doing pretty darn good and have grown a lot. There's algae, but one did not make it, and that was that little mini palm tree. That thing is absolutely toast. I think when I ripped it out of its original container, I damaged the roots, and just planting it just did not take well in this substrate. I don't know what it needs. I've only ever kept these in propagation bins. I've never actually tried to make a terrarium with them. But whatever, you'll win some, you'll lose some. As long as the snail's alive and happy, I'm not too concerned. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I mean, really, it's just a simple jar with plants in it. Honestly, I love just sticking plants in jars. It's fun to me. Kind of cool to put a little snail in there so somebody's living in there. I always like the aspect of designing these cool terrariums and then having inhabitants, like roly-polies or fish in aquariums. I really like that. So this was kind of a cool, fun project.